Kwasi no hotel
Welmina yeah e wo beach no
na nka Kwasi no person de sa hotel ni kosi a Ghana nti yes say me say there's a document to prove.
When the new administration took over in 2017, it decided to freeze all contracts and said they were going to review them and reject whichever ones that they would reject. Well, they did the review. None of our projects was rejected. As a matter of fact, they gave even more contracts to a number of the contractors that we had pre-financed. But they would pay the new contracts and leave ours.
Banks ni bi international banks na starting ma Ghana 4% no. Ghana for ni do mu sika ni na e foreign banks no. Foreign banks no so mfa so no $60 ne pounds ne euros per film no de ko. Enti sa na tie dia President Kuffour advised Kwasi said this is the time to roll.
Newark Scientific Hospital at Roma and I think me in Crawford Remy Spices Remy on my Roma. Yeah, the reaction, bro. This is the God Son's reaction on the God Son TV. I don't pay them as she Papa was Nduom and I didn't ask him got to John Dramani Muhammad him. Before the election, say, or a president, I want a Nigerian bank in United Nations. Nigerian bank, I never want to be a. And I can't go just mad say, hey, I didn't know. Quite a deep was in the fasono. Now, mention I had them now, John Dramani Mahama. Into a baby, say, ni, na, into the Chimuno. There's no video. Oh, the way tea. There is the God Son's reaction on the God Son TV. From Alexis, the God Son. And Minora. And I thank you very much. You're watching.
Kwasi Nduom. Aban born besia.
Aban born besia.
Royal no, Kwabrado for the na woka kra wan hwe obem.
Asamo.
Royal Bank. Aban koji wo mu sika nyina editua ka na wo education sector. And of course, Kwasi Nduom hokoji sika.
Kotua contractors.
Ekotua contractors any energy sector e ka da ho.
Owie
ye no e no besi ko Kwabrado for ho.
Obo for.
E ka say tieni yo. Road contract na Koko road na ye twam no. Aban ne ko Kwabrado for ho. E no koji Kwabrado for ho sika. E de ko tua so called judgment debt. Emma Koko wrote now be twam. Na wonim say wo twam na obeboka. Why do you twam?
I don't know.
Very good. No twam no kwaji sika no. E wo Kwabrado for ho. The intention ne say na wo mo pese Kenoforiata bank no e grow faster and bigger.
Why?
Okay, watch this. I'll tell you. Marco Faba. Memti maybe you. Memti maybe na Marco Faba you. So the agenda was that one number ton NIB. Initially, they wanted a South African bank to come and buy NIB. Then the South African bank will say that then one beton masab bank no. Sauba kaya 2018 e ba say a ton Ghana Commercial Bank. Quickly no me rebanding no be friend GCB. I still have the document. So that and between that time to 2028 they are looking at it say they're looking at it say Sa bank no ebenya not less than 140 branches across the country so that they can hold the financial system
where dey no
where dey modi mashara na me modi so that they can hold the entire financial space no because Ghana have bank or branches span the whole country. Eye Kwasi Nduom branch. Bank.
Biase abekom bia branch.
Kwasi Nduom. Woni ma dey am Kwasi Nduom here. Pa, can I say it? I don't know where you are.
Say it.
CIA ebeye report e wo Ghana ha. It is all share ya. What kind ejapade book na? Wo mo your man so ba blackmail Kwasi Nduom say Kwasi Nduom e CIA informant. Granted, say Kwasi Nduom ye CIA informant. Who ma party na ma CIA tu Kwame Nkrumah. Into Kwame Nkrumah aye too no any UP4 na do die animu say any Kwasi Nduom one or the biggest informant UP and a Kwasi no I am not me koye aduma with United Nations and a UN and me call Zimbabwe UN and me call other African countries to build their economy Alan Chamatini Kwasi Nduom and a World Trade Organization when they were looking for top-notch Africans. Kwasi Nduom, any Alan Chamachina, President Kuffour nominate womo. That is why Kwasi Nduom no CPP, but Orie na Jumano J Kuffour time, Obeye Minister of Energy first, and so Obeye Minister of Public Sector Reforms. It is a document now. Me no who say Ghana Commercial Bank one of the most powerful banks in the whole of Africa. Me fe niagro. Say Ghana Commercial Bank na woman na we ne se no. Na ye one na your bank be fe TTB Mokai. Trust Bank. Very good. CIA report ne kire say Ghana manage Trust Bank here. Trust Bank baba be one of the biggest banks ubetimi Africa betimi dey infrastructure. That time they were Bank of Housing. So they realized that Ghana Commercial Bank, TTB, African Development Bank, and as against ADB, ADB, African Development Bank, Agricultural Development Bank. It was a strategy so that by abbreviation they would sound the same. It was a serious financial fraud. What I said, to kill Ghana ADB. So quickly, Osafma for attempted selling ADB. And for Kwasi Prati, I'm sorry. That time I don't person on Ghana water ni ECG can hono. And for then Professor Samuel Sebai and the Mudadi. A quite mukaka we musuba no person on ADB. And also amfa. Because that's still a CIA document, you know. Indicate say even what ton ADB, what ton NIB, I can't buy bank back with me. ADB, NIB, and there's one other government bank be. Forgotten the name. What counts our banks need no value boma and do Ghana Commercial Bank half.
That's huge.
And one other state institution or what's the capacity of SIC. I'm telling you, SIC. What come with banks be that is why I say some person on SIC. No. One ton SIC branches and they will convert it into a bank. So bank be na MPC be it is sanity there. Bank. Kwasi Nduom who report no. He told somebody or cabinet say sanity there. Yem build 5 Ghanaian people. Kwasi say young peg Ghana phone numa what tisika semase. Or no Kwasi Nduom so betimi lead $4 billion of Ghana to set those 5 people no up. Now metimi ama financial sector na Ghana ha no are very strong. Now fe no we must select about 200,000 youth across the country. Now we must obi $50,000 to set them up. And we agree but now buying nisika na Kwasi say no, nisika no problem. Etika Kwasi Nduom pese our hotel. Can I say it? Our hotel be Elmina. Kwasi Nduom hotel Elmina.
Elmina, yeah. E will beach no.
Nanka Kwasi Nduom pese o this hotel ni kosi a wagan nti. Yes say. Me say there's a document to prove. Etika Kwasi Nduom ade na me hwe ya me yes ah.
Yeah, both from.
Ena onya na dan for be US. And no catch and say no. I don't think say it will be needful. So the bank ni be kwakosi awa. You stayed ewa America. Why you Juma man international bodies? You can find a way. And genuinely, onya sika kakra. And also sanity there. Said the be Ghana Commercial Bank be very strong. Now 5 banks no mo person mu grow no so be very strong. Said the be Adda afen makai. Adda international banks no be one say wo mo kono. Ghana financial sector no en collapse. Now watch this. Now your bank bi wo kurum ha. Me modi because obi ato. Woma bank na shim. Dey international bank. Say am no ka say bank na yasesa ne din na bibi wo mu wo baabi. Na bibi na bibi wo ho baabi. E na omo sesan na omo di AB be share ho baabi. And a Kwasi Nduom.
Microphone is on a media.
Kwasi Nduom. I'm telling you Ghana for story. Kwasi Nduom saw this coming. Eti Kwasi Nduom. Papa be a friend of Buck Pig and a Buck or your financial guru. Any Joe
Papa Kakano.
Papa Kakana yoba
Joe Jackson.
Joe I'm sure. Obi me anka bo wasumba Joe Jackson. And another lecturer be at University of Cape Coast. My friend Kingsley J. Or your tia be the Dr. Kingsley J. Or your tia be wow bing. And then one woman or a Ghanaian says I know because was Senegal on advice Senegal finance minister. Ghanaian ba onya be mo yoba oni kunumpo. What do you mean for your wedding? Or 43 years.
But yeah, I'm funny.
Or ya igbeni.
Yeah, funny.
Or a Votarian.
Yeah, funny.
Wedding 43 years on advice Senegal finance minister. Go and check Senegal say baby our economy nedru. It's far better than that of our country. These people teamed up and said that they will build the financial sector as against the interests of the international banks because they be on person omo kope na economy no enya shock. Sa bank bi na me say ho ba bi no okoye financial sector ni nya shock. Emre bi abese ko na omo say omo chase u se beje besia. It's in Crawford omo sika bebre kogu so the bank became the richest bank in Ghana as against Ghana Commercial Bank. So Kwasi Nduom wanted to keep the money here in Ghana to complement Ghana Commercial Bank. And President Eehu-Kuffour kwaji $84 million be SIC because of the Kwasi Nduom deba no. Again, Kojo Banredu be finance minister no. Okwaji $213 million after say a ton Vodafone. Ghana Telecom, ebe the Vodafone. And on this sika no, ekoshe SNET. Sika na NDC ba ya, you say papa bi and the TB omo o baby. Koye sika no won ya. Ha. Edi asan ba. So through Kwasi Nduom, Kuffour aban who said no, SSC build the financial sector no. So the plan at cabinet, Dr. Paul Akwa, he was the former Bank of Ghana. Any former chief of staff here where we Kokoyin Kreni Kuffour first chief of staff Jacob Chebilamtemu after a cabinet meeting President Kuffour summoned them omo ye 4 one can me mudi mashada me de baba me can say michna someone said go to London stay there and think Monko drink na momra said ye be ya because that time let me be sincere with you that time na Ecobank threatening so beko cause a ton Ghana Telecom no obi ayam hye no sense aban niska Ecobank threatening so beko SGSSB are threatening so beko Barclays are threatening so beko Standard was the first but threatening so beko so the MPP government then needed a strategy to hold the Ghanaian economy, especially Yesika way system. Then Kuffour appointed these 5 people, go to London and think and come back. Osafo was then the Minister of Education, and then, but he was part of it because he was then the former Minister of Finance. Oni Kojo Banredu muni ade. Eno na ma Kojo Banredu o transdwene yedwene no mpo adwuma me wo fa ne de wu ya. No a workaholic. That is what killed Kojo. Ha kwa ho man fa se mi ma hyehyem nka ho. It wo mu wie eno no. Then they agreed that the banks need not threaten some beko. Adi ebe save ye and say Ghana first must arrest the dollar. Bisa Mr. Niama.
The dollar and the watifli.
Yeah, me Mr. Niama nyo wo fie hey. Sama se me boa, mo Mr. Niama. The term arrest the dollar. Mr. Niama down for penny bi pa. And so Nancy na omo cheche ye no. Or say arrest the dollar, not the media. So arrest the dollar. Mr. Niama down for Papa Penny pa and the proposal your cabinet. Say answer na Ghana economy bit me na so arrest the dollar. So the strategy omo ba yin na say led by Paul Akwa. And say as I say sister Ghana your currency no. So to hell with the international banks. To hell with the international banks. I feel what I say. And cosmetic. He saved this country. If you don't know, I'm telling you today. Kuffour and his administration saved Ghana. I have a document. My kind here, my dream. And now, Osasa Sikano. Eti Osasa Sikana. Dollar no. Ebe 90 pesos to a city. Not city ni ya $1 dollar ni pepepe. And a banks ni na ye wadrin say no. Ye kasa ye kwa economy no ensay.
Yeah.
It was a huge thing to kill Ghana's economy.
At that time, almost what's the sense?
And so now what's the sign? Na dollar no ewo form change city. And the banks are kase international banks ni na who say no and yes sanity there yenko. And the Kuffour can say businessmen na ewo Ghana ha no. Tie me ye me ba asem bi so. Kuffour who say no. A sense economy no aye very strong. Yasesa sika no sika bebre aba system ni mu no. Ghana businessmen no. I don't want to mention names, but Mebo Ibrahim Mahamadin in this conversation. And I'm saying, Kuffour selected 50 businessmen in this country. No, I'm call the then Merchant Bank. And Ibrahim Mahamad Kwane Kuffour my man bisia. And Ibrahim Mahamad Kuffour and Fasikana manu because say or ye wine or the man so ye Ghana business man. Me boni din we fidie so e friend Antiagi. E ho na fi.
Community.
East Legon Antiagi e ho na fi. Na Kuffour selected 52 businessmen and women. Kweku otenka ho, ntina kweku oto no thrift petrol, oton or chate or kate fuel or official, I mean no license. Omo the fuel ko no mo the abanti se Mali, Togo, Ivory Coast, omo fuel san. Na Ghana businessmen and women na the fuel na ko. So Kuffour selected 52 nipa. Sa 52 40 of them no mo NDC related. 40 out of the 52 are Kuffour ma omo jisika asem obi anka da me na me ka kire e wo Merchant Bank no. Now 40 out of the 52 no mo NDC for including Ibrahim Mahamad. And now let me say this on record. Ibrahim Mahamad na nisika ni so. Huh? Ibrahim Mahamad na ni so. But winning, you have a boy Ibrahim Mahamad din because ni nua ne John Mahamad. Enti Kuffour yes a pepepe no na banks no enim gu ase. Na nka se ne ye na nko bi. Tafe de se we Ghana ni now was ye beba be ma obesia crap because we must sika be gu system no monim gu ase. And the Kwasi who said no. And now say banks ni bi international banks na starting ma Ghana 4% no. Ghana for ni do musika ni na e foreign banks no. Foreign banks no so fast one of $60 ne pounds ni euros per film not the call. Enti sa na tie dia President Kuffour advised Kwasi said this is the time to roll. If you don't know, let me tell you this. This I'm getting emotional. I'm getting emotional. This is the time to roll. Enti the appeal say a krana Ghana Commercial Bank entimi nyendru ho no. Wo fa Ghana Bank no dru ho mafia. Said ya be ya Ghana ni no sika no be ka Ghana. The yetimi di enya bi di ayo man ni yie. And the Kwasi or risky. Let me tell you Ghana for today. Kwasi went for a loan. Kwasi Nduom went for a loan to establish and expand that bank no because of the interest of this country. Ghana nti Kwasi Nduom started so baby. And Ghana for wabruche ni kwa na fe do baby na wono mo ji omusika fa. And the banking sector na nkasa mpanifo na wo mu no started say omo wo Kwasi Nduom pin. I am telling you, it started in 2008. Even national security, Kwasi Nduom who report Eehu-Kuffour, I am saying it today. I stole that document. Mama man cancer mukrum how. Me say Ghana obi ani mu nchani o.
Ene ma ekoso underground no dey.
Kwasi Nduom. Wo mo ye na Kuffour se dum. Na Kuffour nim. Said the be Ghana be yi. All of a sudden, Danado, you were part of that cabinet meeting, you know. Now you say, ye good bank, sir.
Ye good bank.
Now what the Kwasi Nduom GN Bank. A good GN Bank. GN what you say? Ghana National Bank. So a kwa nimu kakra. Kwasi will hand that bank over to the people of Ghana. Now by the property of the government of Ghana. That was the brain behind GN, Ghana National Bank. Now, we're ceded to Ghana Commercial Bank. Na Ghana Commercial Bank a take over Ghana. Said the beya say abrofo ne ahoho banks ne kase wo mu kwa yen oman no ye ho yen.
Abronti.
Obi asro so be kan banks na yegu na sem. Ensem o.
Abro.
Wo ma yen kasa.
GN Bank o twene ho.
Evia ensem amenimu okroma no. Me ensem amenimu okroma no. And you good GN Bank.
Financial sector review and clean up and so on and so forth. So people say that there was a financial sector cleanup. And they also say that they required people to bring new capital. I would say ask the entire banking system, how many banks brought new money into the system? And you'll find there was very little. Many people restructured their balance sheet and through going about to revalue the positions, came up with additional capital, if you will, but very little new capital. Some that came from outside brought some new capital, but very little capital got on the table, most of which was also taken away by the haircuts from the bonds. So the system is today facing a lot of stress. But our particular specific situation is this. We built a bank from the very beginning, saying that we wanted to be the people's bank, to be everywhere, to serve the ordinary Ghanaian. So from the word go, we said we're going to build at least 300 branches and serve at least 1 million customers. And that we will be in where any major market is in this country and provide services across. So we built not just these 300 branches. In actual fact, we built 305. And we put in the technology network so that no matter where you would be, whether it's in Wedana or Sisala or Pusiga or wherever, that you could access your bank account from anywhere. Or you could also decide that I'm in Avrongo. I want to go to Kwasi or to Makola to buy some supplies, but I don't want to carry cash, so I don't lose it. So you go to the branch, you tell them, here's my money, I'm going to Kwasi Edum, I'll collect my money. So they'll just go safely, pick up their money, buy their supplies and go home. So we built this network, which then became the focal point for economic development in many of the areas. Because now, if I know a specific man in Wale Wale who sold building products. Before we got there, his business was small because he couldn't drive through all these bad roads to go and deliver supplies, go and collect cash. But with our system in place, anyone, whether they're in Saboba or wherever else, will go to a branch, deposit money into his account. Once he verifies it's sitting in Wale Wale, he will then send the supplies to them, and his business was thriving. Now the business has gone down. Okay. So we feel that collapsing a 300 branch financial entity is inimical to the economic interest of the country. So whether it even belongs to us or belongs to someone else, it is something that needs to be there. Secondly, since our license was revoked and we left a number of those places, nobody has gone to those locations. Nobody has decided that I'll go to, they are not here, so I'll go to Willency. They are not here, so I'll go to wherever it is. Nobody's gone there. And so there's nothing happening in those places. We had thousands of employees. Those employees don't have jobs. And because of the banking sector problem that showed up, who is going to give a branch manager a job today? So those people are jobless. And some of them are doing some really menial jobs with the education that they have. So that didn't happen. And there's a problem there. We also built quite a sophisticated digital money system. So some may have heard about a system called Pay Global and others that we built with your app. You can do all sorts of things. That system obviously is collapsed. Now, we consider that we built one of the first, people talk about interoperability. We did this, more than 6 years ago. And that system, it doesn't work now. Okay? We made a huge investment in that area. It is not working. So we've spent a lot of money, a lot of investment in the system that today is not doing anything for anyone. So why did this happen? It happened because quietly we had been the entity, our whole group, that was funding Ghanaian contractors. There are a number of them. I know you know some of them. We put them in business. We finance their contracts. So when former President Kuffour took over, they decided, and I was there, they decided that they weren't going to give advance money to contractors, that you should go and get your own money. And when your project gets to a certain phase, the professionals, technical people will go and take a look, certify the project, they pay you, then you move on to the next phase. If they don't pay you in 90 days, you get to charge interest on it. And that was a system that was put in way back in 2001 or so, because it was said that people would get advances and do all manner of things with the money and not do the work. So up until 2017, cumulatively, we had financed up to 14 billion Ghana cedis worth of contracts, cumulatively. So that's the impact that we were having on the system: bridges, roads, school buildings, and so on and so forth. Now, in 2008, when we started asking for our money, what we said was there at that time was 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. What? 2018 was 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. And this came about because when the new administration took over in 2017, it decided to freeze all contracts and said they were going to review them and reject whichever ones that they would reject. Well, they did the review. None of our projects was rejected. As a matter of fact, they gave even more contracts to a number of the contractors that we had pre-financed. But they would pay the new contracts and leave ours, right? We said, just give us 300 million Ghana cedis of contracts, work done and certified. And if they had done that, none of our companies would have suffered any challenges. They didn't. So Ministry of Finance said, go and get an independent person to audit these projects, which we did. When the independent person did the audit, they rather came up with an amount of 2.2 billion Ghana cedis, right? This money is what today has come up to over 7.1 billion. Now, knowing all of this, the governor who is there sat with me and said, look, why don't you accept to be reclassified from a universal bank to a savings and loans company, knowing that for savings and loans, the minimum requirement is only 15 million. Okay, 15 million. So do that, continue with your business, and then when monies are paid, then you can come back and request to be brought back to universal banking status I went back to the directors, said, okay, let's do this. So January 2019, they give us a letter saying, here are 6 conditions that you must satisfy over a 6-month period. Now go and become a savings and loans company. So we went and started working. After 6 months, we prepared this report. It's a transition report for the 6-month period. We gave it to them in July. All of the requirements that they gave us had been satisfied. And we said our capital at that point was about 200 million Ghana cedis. Now remember, savings and loans, you require 15 million, right? So imagine my shock when I'm sitting in Chicago doing some work, and in August I'm told that they have taken our license. I said, under what pretext? Under what condition? What happened? Okay, because this report we gave to them, nobody called us to say, come and let's talk page 5, what you put there is wrong. Or page 6, there's something that we don't understand. Nothing. Nothing. And I've been showing this to everybody, that we went through and did our work and said everything was okay. And indeed, the people had started coming back to us, giving us new money. The old OPIC in Washington, which is now DFC, we went there and signed an agreement for $20 million, okay, to bring in and put into the business. All of that went away because of this action.
Presenting this petition to us. It's a matter that has engaged our own attention, and I have made several pronouncements about it in the past. I believe that the action of this government was a knee-jerk reaction to a situation that should have been faced with reasonableness, level head, and a calm disposition. Professor Soludo says that the ownership of capital matters, and that the ethnicity of capital is real, and that every country's financial and banking sector is part of its national security.